So as part of this Jared Goff stack, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is appealing at 4,100. That might be a little bit of a reach, though. I mean, that's really, if you're playing that stack, you can include him. But as far as like just the obvious values go, I think T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Jacoby Myers, those are guys that are going to get a lot of attention, and rightfully so. The guy that I like the most for this slate, at least as of now, is a little more expensive, and that's Chris Godwin at 5,900. Godwin has seemed to fall behind Mike Evans and Antonio Brown on the depth chart recently, but I don't think that's actually the case. I think that those guys have just had their touchdowns. Godwin hasn't gotten the end zone much lately, and he's due for some positive regression going forward. So to me, he's just been a bit unlucky over the last handful of weeks, and he's underpriced as a result. 5,900 for a receiver this good in a passing game that throws this much. It seems like it's much lower to me than it should be.
All right, Pearce, who are you looking at wide receiver?
A.J. Brown at 6,300. Julio Jones left last night's game. It's doubtful that he'll play this week, and if he does play, I don't see him being a big role. Derrick Henry, as we mentioned earlier, is an absolute monster, and teams are going to have to focus on shutting down Derrick Henry. I know that's impossible, but Kansas City is going to try their best, and Kansas City really can't stop anything to begin with. So this is really going to open up a lot of passing lanes and opportunities for A.J. Brown. 7 catches, 91 yards, and basically just the second half last night. And then if you think about how this game's going to play out, I think Patrick Mahomes is probably going to get 400 yards, considering that Tennessee pretty much lost their entire secondary yesterday. So this is going to be a shootout. Tennessee's going to have to keep up. I'm sure Derrick Henry will do his part, but I expect a really big game from A.J. Brown.
Reid, talk to me.
Yeah, I wanted to really stand up here, and talk about Brandon Cooks. We don't know what Tyrod, what his status is. He's at $6,000, Brandon Cooks is. Look, his target share is massive, right? It is massive. And you talk about all these really good receivers. I think Brandon Cooks doesn't get that type of love in GPPs, but the guy that I don't really want to talk about is Jaylen Waddle. Like, I get that a lot of the receivers last week were out, and so he got a lot of that work. At $5,600, we got some speedy receivers here. I think we have to start talking about Jaylen Waddle, and I know his target share is inconsistent. As someone that the Dolphins, granted, you could have got Jamar Chase, but you went after Jaylen Waddle. I get it, you traded down, but I do like what he does with Tua Tagovailoa. I think Tua is probably one of the better streamers this week for quarterbacks. And Jaylen Waddle and Tua have this connection. You've seen it in week 1. Now we see it again last week. And so I really like Waddle, that cheaper price tag and that potential shootout in Atlanta and Miami.